Call of Duty Zombies is in such a weird state right now. It feels like the mode is at a standstill and having a severe identity crisis, and with developers generally being tight-lipped about the future of the mode other than big things are coming, fans are increasingly left in the dark while simultaneously being reliant on leakers, data miners, and copious amounts of speculation. In case you're not aware, Modern Warfare 2 2022 is coming out at the end of October this year, and we will not be getting a zombies mode. This has been confirmed by Infinity Ward themselves, but this is not the only bad news. Modern Warfare 2 is going to be outputting content for 2 years instead of the traditional 1 year, and while that's fine and good from a multiplayer or Warzone standpoint, Zombies fans are going to be struggling to get by with what little content we have left to milk. Now, I have been talking about this particular topic a lot on this channel, which is how COD 2024, which is when Treyarch's premium COD title is set to be released, will be a renaissance in the COD Zombies community. While I still maintain that belief, there is another rumor circulating around the Zombies community that just seems unrealistic, but I want to talk about it anyway. Free-to-play Call of Duty is slated to release sometime in 2023. And I know this sounds silly, but like I said earlier, Tom Henderson, Ralph's Valve, and Zapped, and a bunch of other data miners and leakers have all mentioned that this is likely to occur and that the idea of COD going to some sort of biannual release isn't necessarily accurate. The biannual release could just be for premium titles, or maybe they're just taking a break to prep for the next generation of Call of Duty. Maybe it's a Microsoft thing. Who really knows? It honestly could be anything. It even could be the revered standalone Zombies title, as rumors of that have been circulating. So we're going to combine both of those concepts into this video. But what makes this a tad bit confusing is that with the release of Modern Warfare 2, we're going to be getting a brand new Warzone experience, aptly named Warzone 2. We just got Caldera, and we're about to get a new map to replace Rebirth Island. Then on top of that, we have new Warzone content that's less than a year away, not to mention Warzone Mobile and COD Mobile, and there are just a lot of plates spinning in the air. It's pretty ridiculous if you think about it, and most of this stuff is going to be free to play. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the potential for this free to play COD, particularly from the standpoint of it being a zombies game only, or at least primarily zombies. There are some features I think we absolutely need in game in order for this to even be taken the slightest bit seriously or for it to succeed at all. So without further ado, let's get into the first point. The first point is to integrate the entire Zombies catalog into one space, app, client, whatever word you want to use, as well as to make it all crossplay. Every single Zombies experience needs to be present on this free-to-play standalone Zombies game. The primary reason for this being a good idea, and maybe even critically necessary, is that there's already a huge split between player bases when it comes to Zombies as it is. Cold War Zombies was the first game to really bridge that gap with crossplay, which was huge. So if there was any way to keep all Zombies maps and or experiences contained and implement crossplay, I think we can finally stop being split up as a player base and start to relive some of those classic experiences with friends that we were just not able to have back in the day. Now, I know this would be a huge undertaking, and so I think a few caveats should be mentioned. I don't think that the older games should be remastered or anything like that. If they can simply just have the Zombies games and maps in the menu and then it will launch independently, like how Warzone and Cold War do inside of the same, title screen, that's just fine, but the cross-play ability is the most important. I also wouldn't consider it totally unreasonable for all the maps to be accessible if you have already purchased them, so they wouldn't be required to repurchase, and then they could also be sold individually so that new fans could buy them for $8 to $15 a piece over time as they see fit, as the primary content that is free to play rests with the new content, modes, etc. Number 2. Now, this point is going to be pretty resource intensive. In fact, all the things I really discuss here are resource intensive, but if they're going to have a standalone Zombies game and potentially a free-to-play one at that, it's going to be filled with microtransactions, so they're going to have to butter it up with content. So what do I mean by butter up the game with content? Well, I believe that we need at least 3 maps to start the title off. That means 2 fully developed maps with full Easter eggs, quests, multiple wonder weapons, the Zombies works. And then we need a 3rd map that is just straight survival with a small quest for rewards, or something similar to the Giant as far as gameplay and map size go, and something similar as to this custom map called Daybreak, which had a simple quest that took about 20-ish minutes to do and was perfect for the size and scale of the map. Now, I've been waiting for Treyarch to do something like this for a long time, and they finally kinda did it with the second quest in Outbreak during Cold War's lifecycle. But honestly, I think they could do something similar like that on a survival map, or even add a new quest to a map later down the line in a DLC update. Or perhaps they could take the World War II zombies method and add a casual Easter egg and a hardcore Easter egg. I know the community has talked about that for quite a long time. Now, not only should Treyarch be launching this game with at least 3 maps, but they should also be launching alongside with them at least 2 side modes. One side mode could be fine depending on what it is, but if they are smaller like Rush or Grief or Onslaught, then we need at least 2. And they also need to bring back Outbreak. Now, I know what you're thinking. How are they going to have Outbreak when there are no multiplayer maps for them to repurpose as zombies content for the Outbreak mode? Well, I think Treyarch should design large, open, original zombies maps for those spaces as well. They could start off this Outbreak 2.0, let's call it, with 3 maps like they did in Cold War, and slowly add maps throughout the year, as well as Easter eggs and all sorts of cool stuff. And to add one more thing about the side modes, gun game just 100% needs to be added to zombies. It's such a no-brainer. Long story short, a game of this caliber needs to launch with a ton of content and needs to add more content as time goes on. Think of this as like Doom Eternal or something, where they come with a whole campaign and tons of other modes and features, and then, you know, you get your general DLC packs that expand what's already on the game. This is how the new zombies mode should be treated. While that might not be the best example, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, obviously, the main problem with this is just time, money, and not killing the developers that actually work for Treyarch and Activision. But if they genuinely had a huge, large, dedicated team building this project, there are truly endless possibilities. Now, to kind of piggyback off the launch and DLC content ideas, this third point has to do with how the content is implemented inside of the game. Now, we're used to getting 1 map, 1 Easter egg, 1 boss fight. That's the standard, and it's been that way for a long time now. And I think this is one of the things that needs to be seriously updated inside of zombies. I think we need multiple Easter eggs per map, different boss fights in a map, and different wonder weapons in the map. Basically like a brother and sister version of whatever experience you want to play. So let's say you want to play Blood of the Dead, but you don't want to do the main Brutus boss fight or main Easter egg. Well, complete the alternative path that has a totally different quest line, totally different wonder weapon, totally different ending and boss fight. This would not only allow Treyarch to repurpose their maps and elongate content, it would give players endless amounts of replayability by having them come back to check out the new updates inside of the map. Now, I just want to say that I'm not 100% sure how Treyarch builds zombies maps. I don't know if they have to like build the egg alongside it or if they add all that stuff at the end, but I think this idea of having Easter egg updates inside of zombies is just an absolute banger idea, and to be honest, I'm surprised we haven't really seen it more frequently. So that's not the only idea I have regarding updates to the maps in terms of content, as I also think it would be a great idea for Treyarch to add new hidden or secret areas and also allow the maps to be dynamic. So in Elden Ring, as you progress through the story, you kill certain bosses and they trigger dynamic map changes. So after you kill a certain boss, you light the main tree on fire and there's ash and ember floating all around the air, and it's just gentle and soft, and you can really feel this degradation of the land surrounding you. And we just haven't really seen anything like that in zombies, so why not have it? The possibilities with an idea like this are truly endless, as you could add new areas, secret areas, modified areas that were already accessible. It could really add a whole new depth to the zombie gameplay loop. The fourth point is that, whatever they do, they need to keep the Black Ops Cold War systems in the game. Perks, skill trees, salvage, weapon unlocks, zombies dropping weapons and items. I mean, this has to stay. I was averse to it at first, but now I realize just how modern and efficient it really is. I would like them to expand upon it, and I'm not an expert on system design, so I'll leave that up to Treyarch, but if there is one area I would like to see opened up a bit, it's the crafting elements of zombies. In previous games, we had a lot less in terms of crafting things, but building the shield and going on a quest to find the specialist weapon was absolutely wonderful, and that needs to come back. There were elements of this slightly in Die Machina and Forsaken, where we had specific tables levels for specific items, which we have seen before in BO4 Zombies and probably in other iterations of Zombies as well, but there wasn't much of a quest to go and find and build these items, nor were they really OP weapons to have in your arsenal, or sometimes they weren't even weapons at all. Another thing I would like to see be added to these systems is being able to turn off your abilities in your skill tree, since we aren't using consumables anymore. And this could add a certain flair for players that want to make a variety of content or just love a challenge. Imagine being able to do some sort of weekly, monthly, daily challenge by having none of your tiers activated inside of this new Zombies game. You beat the boss, now you get a blueprint. You get to brag to your friends about this exclusive reward that you got simply for playing things a certain way. And that actually segues into our fifth and final point of today's video, which, you guessed it, is about rewards. Now, before I get slammed in the comments for asking for a standalone free-to-play Zombies game and also having free in-game rewards, let me explain that I'm perfectly fine with this game having microtransactions. Activision apparently made $5.1 billion from microtransactions and DLC in 2021, so I think they're going to be fine. But if they kept things primarily the same in the in-game shop and then gave us real rewards as well, I would be really ecstatic. Easter egg completions, round 100s, round 100 boss fights. These are just a few ideas of how to implement amazing rewards for players. Whether it's player skins, reactive camos, blueprints, whatever, there should be an incentive for the game other than just spending COD points. Now, I wasn't really sure where to place this bullet point, so I just kind of put it in this section, but I think having multiple mastery camos could also be something interesting to think about or potentially add to the game. Perhaps there could be 3 versions of Dark Ether and you can only unlock one at a time, then you have to completely regrind or prestige your weapon in order to get the other variants. Not exactly sure the best way to implement this idea, so leave your thoughts in the comments down below, but having to grind in-game for some things isn't necessarily bad. When it's the only route to achieve the very few rewards we have, that's when it becomes a problem. I'm also hoping that Treyarch adds factions and adds back custom mutations, but actually allows the player to complete Easter eggs in unique ways or competitively with other factions. Then Treyarch could implement monthly, weekly, daily challenges that players have to complete and could get XP tokens, COD points, blueprints, all sorts of rewards. The list goes on and on. Plus, if you combine these features with the ability to turn on and off your skill tree, it's literally endless in terms of the combinations and challenges that could be supported with such a robust reward system. The main theme here, or the main way to improve Zombies going forward, is to keep what we had in Cold War, but to bring the best parts from all of the previous iterations of Zombies into the forefront. With the right combinations, I truly think this mode could be even bigger than it was back in the BO3 days. But anyways, guys, that just about does it for all the ideas I have for this free-to-play standalone Zombies game, whatever you want to call it. Probably doesn't exist, but, you know, wanted to talk about it anyway. And yeah, I know a lot of these ideas are out of reach, or they definitely would not be happening all at the same time, but the goal is that hopefully Treyarch or somebody over there sees this video and gets inspiration and takes these ideas and comes up with better ones, since they're the pros. So if you could please leave this video a like, it really does help boost it in the algorithm, and leave some comments about the ideas presented so I can see your ideas as well. I would really like this conversation to continue, because whether we realize it or not, the devs are always watching and listening. If we could get them to rebuild Zombies halfway through the year like they're doing with Shin no Numa, then they can certainly do it with an entire upcoming release itself.